All right, so today's video we're going to be talking about cybersecurity and really just talking about, hey, I want to do this, I want to make this change, or I want to get started. Where do I begin, really? There's a lot of information out there. It's a very attractive industry, so everyone's trying to get at whoever's time and dollars. So I want to kind of clear some of the noise as best as possible and really help out in figuring out, hey, where do I kind of begin? Because there's tons of ways you can start. There's different educational pathways you can take as far as boot camp, grad certificate, 4-year degree certification. So I'm trying to help, at the very least, trying to give you something as far as my experience in the industry has provided me as far as insight into that world, and maybe help in any way I can. So I think this is where to start. Hey, if you have a good support group, a good coach, a good mentor in your life, start there. Ask them questions, figuring out, hey, I'm trying to make this jump in the industry. If it's somebody who is in the industry, then they can give you more insight in helping you make those decisions and leverage your ability to, not misstep, right? Leverage the tools you have in order to navigate a more clear path. But if you don't, then I would say, and even if you do, but I think if you don't, it's more important in this regard to really understand yourself. This is a free personality test. It's 30 minutes. Take it serious. You can probably get it done in 20. It's free. Just I would really recommend going through this, sitting down and really answering the questions truthfully and honestly, and get an idea of who you are. This is going to help you figure out what kind of person you are as far as how you think, give you kind of your predisposed, likes and dislikes as far as strengths and weaknesses are concerned. And you can even go further. They have some other free tests as far as career aptitude and things like that. And then you can look up online, hey, what your results are. You don't have to pay for the results. You can if you want to, but you can look them up online. And this website also provides generic information about the results that you'll get in the form of your personality type. But you can look at that, look it up and see, hey, how does this personality type apply in the information technology industry or cybersecurity industry or whatever. Just do your kind of extended research from that and figure out what, based on what you know currently about yourself and based on what this test tells you, where should I be looking at as far as cybersecurity jobs? Am I an engineer? Am I a developer? Am I an analyst? Am I a manager? Am I someone who likes the details, or am I someone who likes the big picture? Things like that kind of give you your baseline. So once you understand that, you can really leverage that to pair it with data to make a better decision. So CyberSeek is a really good website, and CyberSN is a really good website. So CyberSeek gives you a lot of data by state. So you can say, hey, I want to move to a certain state soon, or hey, I'm in this current state. Let's say I'm in Florida, and you want to see, okay, what's the supply looking like? What's the job openings? What's the total employed workforce? Trying to give you an idea of like how you stack up, where the opportunities are at, figure out what are the top roles, and figure out kind of certifications that the state has seen through the people that have been employed, to kind of guide your decision on, hey, how do I start my approach based on who I am. So if you really like, based on what you found out, and based on what you already know, I really like solving problems, building things, and you want to be an engineer, right? So there's two, top titles is engineering, network, or systems engineer. So you can say, all right, boom, let's go to CyberSN, which is a really huge cybersecurity hiring platform, and they have tons of resources, and they have tons of information to provide. So you can look up, the role here. They have tons of roles to look at. So you want to be a security engineer, right? Let's say that's where you want to go. It'll give you some overview here, but you can look in more detail. You get more information about the role. You get certain titles. So they're looking for network engineers and system engineers, right? So you can figure out your security spin on it while kind of understanding the bare bones of what that is, and kind of have an end goal. I think the important thing is understanding, hey, based on what I like to do, based on who I am, and based on what's available, where is the job that is best for me, or what? I think in particular. So having the end goal is important. What I will note is that you don't want to be, you know, trying to learn too many things, because then it kind of gives you not a clear idea for what you're really good at. But also, when people hire you, they're not going to know, hey, where's this guy's focus at? He's got, if you're out here collecting certifications like Thanos collects Infinity Stones, you're not really doing yourself a favor. Not saying that you won't get hired, but it is better if you have in mind, hey, I really want to be the best security engineer out there. I want to be level 4 senior security engineer. So what can I do today to help align my path as far as knowledge building, experience, to be the best security engineer, or a risk manager, or a security analyst? Having that end in mind helps you figure that out. So, and that'll help you spend your money more wisely. Okay, so this is good. Figure that out, and then, like I said, feed a role. So if you really want to be a security engineer, you want to be the best security engineer the world's ever seen, you can say, okay, I can really start being an analyst, and then find my way into here. Okay, and then your career guideline, or your career map, when you're looking to get higher paying, more senior positions, they'll say like, wow, this guy's a really good engineer. He started out doing whatever, or maybe he just started out as a security engineer and he's got a lot of knowledge background that all caters to the engineering principles, right? And it'll help you out. They have a lot of good data on salary, but don't get too hung up on these numbers, guys. Really just focus on what is it that I would like to do, and the money will come if you're really good at it, correct? And then this will give you some responsibilities, tools that you might be working with, and kind of general some certifications that lend itself to that, to kind of give you a couple more information, right? So like I said, leverage knowing who you are and what you already know and what you don't know about yourself, to then find data that can help you make a decision about where you live, or where you're going to live, what jobs look like, what certifications are the highest priority in those states, and then figure out roles, the other roles available, what those roles entail, and kind of paint this bigger picture by putting everything together and figuring out, okay, let's create a path for myself to get to this point. All right, and based on what the current data is, let's figure out how to optimize your trajectory. So I think a great resource after you kind of know all that. Paul Jeremy has a really good repository where he has all these certifications. Now, don't get caught up in all the number of these. Don't get caught up on the beginner, intermediate, expert. It's relatively accurate in the sense of how these things scale from low to high, as far as very high level, basic understanding, building those building blocks, right, to like really expert level, very highly technical, or lots of experience, type of exams. You can but don't look at these and be like, I gotta get every single one of these. And like I said, don't treat it like that. Don't say like, I gotta get all these certifications. Figure out what your end job is you want, or a couple of like like a career path, as far as like, I want to start here and then go here and here, and then you can kind of pick and curate certifications or education programs to help reinforce that knowledge, reinforce those career roles, and kind of just build and grow off of one another. You want it to have like a linear track. You don't want it to be kind of choppy, and it's like, okay, well, this guy wants to be a security engineer, but he's over here getting Juniper certification when he doesn't even work with Juniper, or he's getting a Project Plus certification when he's not really a team lead. He's just doing you know what I'm trying to say. Everything will help, but it's just better if you have stuff that kind of reinforces specifically what you're looking to do. And when you go to get hired somewhere, especially as you start moving further in your career, you want to have certifications that and we can get into this another point, but you want to curate your resume to fit the job title you want to get. So to defend the point of like, okay, I got this certification to help me do this XYZ in my role to make me better at this. You want to really curate what you're doing to help facilitate making you a better player in that role. So getting started, obviously, if you have a degree, or if you don't, maybe having that in the plan at some point to have a degree, it'll help you scale. Certifications help you get started, and degrees help you scale. I think the boot camps and stuff are okay. I think if you have certifications bundled with the boot camp, it makes it more valuable. Just having the boot camp, if they have guaranteed hiring, then it is beneficial. But you want to make sure, I think, in those boot camps to have some certifications, because those boot camps, I think, are more beneficial with a certification, because you prove that you really understand the topics and you have been trained to apply them. I think that combination is necessary. I don't really think you benefit for just having one. If you do, just having boot camp, being in a boot camp, I think you benefit more from just the certification. But if you're going to do a boot camp, pair that with a certification. Degrees are good for scaling once you're in your career to differentiate yourself and get maybe more of a pay raise, or move to a higher position. The degrees are going to help you scale. I think, but where to start though, if you're doing certifications, and obviously this is just very high level, Security Plus, industry standard. But before that, really understand your networking, really understand your hardware. But like I said, keep in mind where you want to go and figure out what baseline you need. But I think in general, you're safe with networking. You don't need to certify in this. I certified Network Plus, but do I think it's necessary? No. I think if you really understand networking, that's the goal. Just learn networking, learn what you need to figure out about how networks work, what IP addresses are, what MAC addresses are, how packets move, ports, things like that. Get that baseline to build off of, because everything's going to revolve around networking at the end of the day. And if you want to do A+ and get more hardware stuff, just learn it. You don't really need to certify in it. I don't think it's necessary to have an A+ certification. I think it's kind of an old dying thing to be A+ certified. Just kind of knowing it and learning it. But if you really, for me, I'm competitive, so I'm like, okay, I need something to work for at the end of it. So that's kind of my mindset at that point. But that, or vendor specific, I think CCNA is really good at building that network foundation and applying it to their devices in particular. And CCNA, I think if you align with a vendor or a product supplier that's very prominent, like Cisco or Palo Alto, things like that of that nature, you're going to be setting yourself up well to have a fallback plan just in case things maybe not turn out at the end. You can always fall back on a CCNA. It's like being a welder. You can do whatever you want in your life, but when you know those skills about how to weld, or in this case, how to navigate a Cisco router or configure it and all those things, that's going to really separate you and help you out in the long run. And then from there, the cloud is big. With COVID, it really accelerated everything. All the people that were teleworking, made this transition happen very, very excessive and fast. So any of the big ones, Azure, AWS, GCP, those are the big ones. AWS and Azure are the biggest, but it's really understanding these environments and really understanding how to provide solutions, how to configure them, and really learning the environments, not just certifying. Certifying is not going to help you, but understanding how you can solve problems in these environments is essential. And this kind of overview, I think if you're going to go anywhere, cloud is just a huge thing, and you can do a lot of different things within cloud, whether it's engineering, developing, data analyst, security administration. There's a whole bunch of stuff in the cloud. It's pretty much taking our on-prem, all the on-prem positions, and just applying a cloud spin on it. So I think it's essential to be in the loop on cloud. But that's kind of a higher level overview. Just kind of giving some information. I can get in more detail. There's a lot of information out there, and there's probably a lot more things I can go into. But for the sake of just time, start figuring out who you are. If you have a support group, leverage them to give you guidance. Get the data you need for where you live, and figure out what job roles that are figure out what you want to do at the end of it, right? Figure out how to get there, figure out what's needed. And then some basic things you can look at as far as getting your start. But that's about it for today. And then if anything else comes up, I'll probably make another video with more detail on something specific. So catch you up.